Alright, so this is a little video overviewing my setup for small and medium game and the kind of arrow build I'm using for that, and probably will continue to use. So I'm using the arrow from my last hunt. It was a rabbit and coyote hunt. I only got a rabbit. The coyote were a little too trickstery that time, but next time. So this is the arrow. You can see I still haven't fucking done anything with it. It's still the same as the day I did it. It's covered. I used one of these little simple single bevel heads. These things are very affordable and they're well made. This was my test to see how well made they are. I mean, it really was a push of a test because there was a rock behind the bunny I shot, and it took the full 60-pound bow. Because I'm using my 60-pound breakdown recurve bow that I made the riser of. I mean, you've probably seen it a million times on this channel, but nonetheless, it was able to handle all of that. This head went into a rock about 15 yards in front of me after it passed through the bunny's neck. About half a foot after that was a big old boulder rock, and it smacked right into that full force. And the only thing that happened was a slight amount of tip damage, and it was not even enough to worry. Like, I'm just going to be able to take my grindstone and put a new tip on this, sharpen it up, and it's still ready to go just as good as new. The arrow, of course, it's a gold tip 500. Those are one of my favorites for small and medium game because they're very light shaft. And then I put I think I put 3 of these 50 grain inserts in the front, so that's 150 extra grains. So, you know, I'm getting about 20 to 18% FOC depending on what head I use. And these are 135 grain heads, so I'm getting about 20 to 19% FOC with these on average. And the shaft and everything, you know, gold tip wise, the arrow shaft itself, fucking amazing. You know, especially for a 500 spine, this thing is insanely durable. Like, it hit a rock, not a single chip, not a single anything wrong with it. It's completely shootable, completely fine in all way, shape, and form. I'm always blown away with gold tip. I've been using them for like a solid almost year now. I originally started by using a brand called Fleetwood, I think, and they're cheaper, much cheaper brand, and they would tend to break and explode on the tip, like right here, right below the head. They'd have a lot of problems with their fibers and stuff, so I had to make a move to something nicer, and gold tip was it was the brand that kept coming up from everybody I've heard. So I changed, and I've continued to use them since then. So I have different setups in gold tip, like my bigger game setups and stuff are all like 380 spines and stuff like that. And I also have some 400 spines for right in the middle, and then these 500s are my really light shafts. And I use about 150 grains to get really high FOC, like extra 150 on all my builds. But sometimes I'll use 200 extra grains if I'm using specific heads, or only 100 grains if I'm using really big heads that don't need as much. But because I try to average 300 to 350 grains in the front of total weight to get it to around 20 to 18% in that range. And yeah, these ones came out perfect. The 500s came exactly how I wanted to. It stiffened the spine right up to feel more like a 380, even though it's as light as a 400 or a 500. Some 500s, because of that extra weight. It's a pretty heavy arrow. But it's not that heavy compared to my other ones. So this is my whips. These are my fucking, you know, slingers, the lightest ones I use. And I still have to make sure they have enough mass because I care. But yeah, overall, the head and shaft, everything like that, fletchings, of course, came on the shaft. These are pre-fletched. Did amazing, as I expected. You know, it's covered in blood. You got a perfect arterial shot. I would never complain about that. The only complaint I have is with the knock I used. So I used a brand called, where did I throw the package? That's not the name of the brand, but I don't know where I just threw it, and I had it a second ago. Oh, I know what they're called, Glory Knox. And the Glory Knox, so how these guys work is kind of interesting. So compared to the ones I like, so I usually use these guys, which are nockturnals, and same with most Knox. How these work is once you actually shoot, it pushes on this little plastic bit right here, and this is one I've been shooting for a long time, so it's starting to get a little bit busted, but It turns on, and then there's a little notch right here for you to put a screwdriver, a knife in to lift that little plastic back up and turn it off. With the Glory Knox, the appeal of them was that you can put it on the string, and then with that pressure, full pressure on that little piece of plastic right there, it turns off. And then once it releases, it turns on. And the thing about that is the reason they're cool is because once you turn it off, you put it on the string, that little blue button, you just hold that and then take it off, and it instantly locks it. So you don't have to use any screwdrivers or anything like that to turn this off. It's all done by itself. But because of that, it doesn't have that interior structure that the Illuminox have. You see that little orange ring around in there? That's a big piece of rubber that goes around the battery insert to keep it safe from high pressure and stuff so that it's evenly distributed. These ones don't do that. They are connected to the side right here, and there's a big hole, so it makes this whole empty gap right down here super, super, super easy to break. And that's what happened. After when it hit the rock, the vibration just destroyed that little hollow bit on the connection in between the actual part of the knock and the insert part of the knock, and it failed. But it worked on the way to the bunny, and I got the shot and everything, but I will never probably be using those again because they don't seem to be durable enough. They're good for, I would recommend if you're just doing target practice or something like that, definitely get some of these because they're fun and they're really easy to turn on and off. But if you're actually hunting, I wouldn't use these again, especially if I was going for bigger game. Like the rabbits are one thing, but like if that happened and it was a deer or something like that and the knock got lost in the deer because that's just not cool. So definitely not using these for hunting anymore. I'm gonna go back to the I spaced it right now. And then I also have these guys which I ordered on eBay. I mean Amazon. And I have to say, for being a cheaper Amazon product, these lighted knocks are fucking nice. They are insanely durable. I've shot these into many rocks, many hard things to make sure they work well, and they do. So overall, I would say if you're gonna get lighted knocks, this or the nockturnals, and then if you're gonna use them for target practice, then maybe get the Glory Knox. But the Glory Knox, they have a cool appeal, but the appeal doesn't help in the actual fact because they broke. So I'm gonna just save the battery from it for a backup battery to use for the other ones. Other than that, that's it. So let's pull this battery out. Okay, well at least the battery came out nice and easy, so that's nice. Interesting. Okay. So, yep, there we go. There's the battery. If you guys are ever wondering if you can replace the batteries in lighted knocks, yes and no. Each one has a different type of battery they like to use. And you kind of just have to look and compare and contrast and think, will this fit? Will this work? Is it the same battery? And if not, then don't even try, but there's ways to do it. So, that's that. But either way, that's just kind of the overview of the arrows I'm going to be using from now on for small to medium game. I was really happy with how my build came out. It worked exactly as planned, and yeah, that's it. So I'm done talking, everybody. Sorry about that. Much love, and stay lifted.